Hello, BookTube, and back with Sunday Reads with Brandy. Hi, Brandy. Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
All of zero people, it says here, but Aaron has sent a message, so
Oh,
you're
very.
zero. It says zero people are watching,
Hi, Aaron.
so I'm not sure how that works. But we were saying before, it's quite warm there where you are. It's uh,
Well, my thermometer says 91 degrees Fahrenheit.
okay, and let me get to what like in real uh temperatures. It's 30 plus Celsius, so that is warm.
Yeah. And then I don't remember what the high is supposed to be today. Close to 100.
Yeah, and then tomorrow it's supposed to be as high as 39. So that's going to be really up there. My friend um, in Taiwan said it was like going up to like 40 up to almost 50 Celsius, which is
Is
like
that
already
is that like 100 degrees Fahrenheit?
oh, that's way more than 100 degrees.
Like I know
Uh,
40-ish is around 100, isn't it?
Let me see. Let's see what it is. 48 Celsius uh, in Fahrenheit.
Like 108?
48 Celsius, but 118.
Oh shit. Well, I was a little bit off, but damn.
Yeah, it goes up quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, I there was one year here when we had 114 degrees for a couple of days, but that's the hottest I remember it being in my time. But I did look it up one time, and I think the highest it had ever been recorded was 116. But that was before I was born.
Yeah, I don't think it's got that hot here. I know in Southern Ontario it did. Ariane's here. Hi,
No.
listening but not paying. Or are you are painting? I thought you were going to say you're listening but not paying attention. No, I can't even read. I'm painting and may not chat much. So that's okay. And Andrew's here. Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
Um, but yeah, it's. I remember it getting up into the 40s, and so over 110 in Canada, and it still does now. It gets up to like 100, 115 at times.
Yeah.
And some, but in where um, Adam is in Taiwan, like sometimes it doesn't drop below that at nighttime, and then humid.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It here 20 is okay. Like when I was out getting um, my eyes done, the getting the photographs for the diabetes thing. It was about the temperature here, about 20 degrees, about 70 some, and it felt warm, but there was a nice breeze,
Mm.
and that just made it like, okay, this is the highest temperature that I ever wanted.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
I am all for bringing on the heat because I have my pool up this year, so I'm like, bring it on. I'm prepared.
but you don't need the heat to have a pool. Like that's why do you need the heat?
Well, because you'll freeze if it's not. It's not hot.
Well, you don't have cold water. You have the warm water.
Okay, I think you don't know how pools work, or you're giving me a really bad time.
Reading. What have you finished anything this week?
Yeah, well, it's 2 weeks for me.
Uh,
2 weeks for me.
oh, I forgot. I was gonna make up a sign. Damn. Every time you said Star Trek, I was gonna hold up a sign and say Babylon 5. And I
Well,
forgot to do that. I forgot to do that.
well, you'd be holding it up a lot because that's almost exclusively what I read in the last 2 weeks.
I was
Like
on the
the
computer. I wish I was on the computer because I could do a Babylon 5 background.
oh
The whole
god,
thing.
and you probably would too.
Because I don't think I could do this here. I think I've looked at that before in settings. Um, Layouts new. What's the new crop layout? No. No. General. Uh, oh, there's some interesting things here that I never saw before. But yeah, no, I can't put background in.
Mm.
Like every time Jenny
Darn.
comes on, she puts a background in.
Darn.
So I'll
Oh,
just have to say Babylon 5.
yeah, you will. Well, the first one was not a Star Trek book. It was Pale Blue Dot by Carl Sagan.
Ah,
I've always wanted to read this, or for a very long time. I never got around to it. So I finally got around to it. It's one of my away missions for Book Trek. So that was very interesting. I liked it, but it was not what I expected it to be. I expected this to be more about the science of things, but it was more from like a philosophical point of view. And he did not like religion. um, I am also an atheist, but he did drone on quite a bit about, you know, the reasons that there isn't a God, which I agree with all of his reasoning, but I just felt like it was a lot, you know what I mean? And I never ever like it when a book like preaches too much. I mean, it wasn't preachy really, but it was a lot. It was just a lot of him stating all the reasons why there isn't a God, you know, which I agreed with, like I said, but I don't like it when authors do that for any reason.
did he
What?
explain where the title came from?
Yes, the title came from a picture that was taken, which everybody knows this picture. You know, it was when Voyager took a picture of Earth from, I can't remember what the distance was, but
Well, it
an
was
Earth.
just leaving the solar system. It was just leaving the solar system.
I don't think it was just leaving the solar system. I'm pretty sure that it was before that. It was, I think it was one of the outer planets, but it wasn't just leaving the solar system.
Ah,
But
okay.
I don't. You wouldn't even be able to see Earth if it had just been leaving the solar system. Earth wouldn't be visible. But it was little. It was Earth in this little, and then just like there's a ray of light that just happens to be highlighting the Earth when the picture was taken. It's actually a very cool picture. But yeah, it really, if you hadn't been a type to think about it before about the scale of the universe, it does put things in perspective.
Well, so like apparently he had to talk them into turning the camera
He
around. They didn't
did.
need to, yeah.
He had actually wanted to do it earlier, like a couple of years earlier, but they didn't want to risk anything messing up before they got to X point in the mission. And so once they got all their vital stuff, then they turned it around and and took the
So it must
picture.
have been while they were at leaving Pluto, or is it what's the last one?
The last one
Uranus
is Pluto.
or Pluto? It's
Pluto,
Pluto.
Pluto was the last one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it must have been after they passed Pluto then.
I don't remember it was. I feel like it couldn't have been from Pluto though. I don't think the Earth would be visible from Pluto. But I don't know. Maybe there was a telescoping perspective on Voyager. I don't know. I don't know what all it was equipped with or anything like that. But I don't think that Earth would have been visible if it was just, taking a picture. So, I mean, we can't see those planets. We can't see Neptune or Uranus without a telescope from Earth. So, I mean, I just don't know what it was equipped with. I don't know. So, but I feel like it wasn't past Pluto. I feel like it was before Pluto, but I don't actually remember. He does say it in the book, but I don't remember what it was. So
Well, it was further than a few blocks away. Let's just put it that
it
way.
was probably in a few blocks. Yeah.
A couple new comments here, just briefly. Andrew says he's
Oh,
finished
Death in
Dune,
Winter.
yeah, and finished Death in Winter and 2/3 through Resistance for Babylon 5 2024. Um, and Jenny's here. She's
Hi,
at work,
Jenny.
YouTube. So sorry, I think you were done with the Pale Blue Dot there,
Yeah,
weren't you?
yeah, I was going to probably that. What? How many books did you finish?
Four.
You finished four. Okay. Well, do a book now then.
Okay. Well, one that was going for 3 weeks because it was the Dune in June, so no need to really say much about that. So I finished Dune this week or earlier in the week, I think it was. Yeah.
Nice.
So and there's three. there's 3 video. Yeah, there's 3 videos, live videos. So if anybody's interested, you
Yeah.
can put it. So I don't know if there's much to say about Dune.
Well, which how many times which read is this? How many times for you now?
6 or 7, because
Really?
I've read it more times than I have the 6 books,
Mm,
or even, yeah, because it would have, yeah, it's could be 6 or 7 actually, yeah.
nice.
It's quite a while. It's like 7 years, 8 years since I read it last, and I realized that's too long to go between reading it. So, and I'm going to continue on with reading the rest. And I think Aaron is as well, and maybe a few others, and probably wind up reading like one a month or something like that for the rest of the year. And
Oh,
then I found out that, and then I figured, well, I'm going to go on and try at least dip my toe in the Brian Herbert stuff, because they apparently there was a 30-page outline for Dune 7, the seventh book after Chapter House. So they turned that into 2 books. So I figured, okay, well, that's a good place to start. And if I'm okay with those, then I'll go back to their trilogies
yeah.
next year, something like that.
I'm scared to even read past Dune, let alone the Brian Herbert stuff. I did start Dune Messiah. Like I reread Dune, I think in December or maybe it was January. It was a buddy read with Nathan. And uh I started we were going to read Dune Messiah and he finished it. I only got about a quarter of the way through it and I was like, I don't know if I want to read this. And so I just stopped. So I don't know if I'll ever read the rest of the Dune books.
Well, you should, because, well, the thing is, like, you if you just stop at, say, Dune Messiah, then you're missing out a lot of stuff, a
Mm.
lot of really great stuff. So like you got to get through several of them, but they're not bad. I don't think they're bad. I enjoy them. People do shit on basically Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, but I don't think they're bad. I think they're actually very good. It
I've
just,
heard mixed.
yeah, and then it sort of picks up steam, and the last 2 definitely are great. Heretics and Chapter House are just fabulous.
Mm.
So,
Well, I
yeah,
don't know. I'm scared to read them, so I don't know if I ever will. I
well,
tried Messiah, but I got worried quarter of the way through, and I was like, I'm going to stop now.
well, it's short. It's very short. It's
I
like
know it is, but I don't know. I don't want anything casting a negative light onto the first book for me.
it can't cast
Can
any
it
negative.
absolutely can?
Well, it's like I read all that crap that was the lead up for the um, Isaac Asimov's Future History, like in those other people writings. Oh God, that stuff was just absolute tripe. Some of it. It hasn't ruined anything of his
Yeah,
stuff.
but that stuff you're talking about was not written by Isaac Asimov, and these Dune books were written by Herbert. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
they're not bad. They're not. They are good. They are good. Like, it's just you can't in a 300-page book do what he did in here. And after so many times reading this, I find a lot of inconsistencies, and not inconsistencies so much as inconsistencies, but um, uneven, that potentially could be shoddy writing. Like you could, like it's just stuff that he should have fixed up.
In Dune?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Well, that was the fourth read for me that I did with Nathan, and I haven't noticed anything. Maybe
Well,
it's
it's nothing. It's
sometimes
nothing.
too, isn't it?
It's nothing horrible or bad. It's just that by the time he gets to the last section, which were written differently or later, he does things that, okay, well, he should have actually went back and then put those things in the first part, because they're just small things like names for things, or every time he talks about the Bene Gesserit, if they're there, he describes what they're wearing, and he calls it something in the end part, but he doesn't do it in the first part in the narration, and it's like that's a little uneven to me. There's things like that, and especially with the watch, and uh, sayings, like euphemisms that are 1960s euphemisms and stuff like that. slang doesn't really fit, you know.
Mm, yeah. Well, I never noticed any of it. I didn't even notice that watch thing until you told me about it.
Yeah.
And then I did a search in the Kindle book, and I was like, ha,
Yeah.
never noticed it.
Yeah, it doesn't fit. It doesn't work, you know. And there's other things that just sort of stand out. Not stand out so much, but it's like they're little things that if like I always thought it was so good and everything is the same as Hyperion too. Like I always compare these two of how well they're written, but I've
Mhm.
read them so many times that I'm beginning to see some of the cracks.
Right.
I'm beginning to see cracks. So,
Mhm.
which I don't
That
know
makes
if is
sense.
good or bad.
Yeah. Well, the next book I read was another away mission for Book Trek 2024,
Babylon
Making It
5.
So by Patrick Stewart. Making It So by Patrick Stewart. It was amazing. And I did this one on audiobook, mostly on audiobook. And Patrick Stewart narrates the audiobook himself. And it was amazing. I absolutely loved this. He doesn't even talk about his Star Trek years until like just towards the end of the book. Almost all of this, like probably 95%, is him talking about his life up until Star Trek. And it was fascinating, just absolutely fascinating.
What does he say anything about filming Dune?
Yeah, he mentions that he did Dune, but he doesn't say too much about it. He just mentioned that he was hired by mistake. That David Lynch actually would hardly even give Patrick Stewart the time of day because he was mad because he didn't want Patrick Stewart the way that he looks now. He wanted Patrick Stewart the way he looked when he was young and had hair.
Uh,
So he was very upset about it, and so he didn't want to. He wouldn't have hired Patrick Stewart if he had known what he looks like. I thought it was a different. Did I say different actor? Did I say he was supposed to hire a different actor?
yeah, I think so. By
Okay,
mistake. By
not
mistake.
not a different actor. He wanted Patrick Stewart, but the last time he saw Patrick Stewart had hair, so and he was on stage, and he had wanted Patrick Stewart looking the way he did in the Party Played, which was like real gaunt. He had heavy makeup on for this, the stage in the theater, and he had hair, and he was, you know, sunken cheekbones and all that, and he wanted that. He wanted that Patrick Stewart. But when he saw Patrick Stewart, what he looked like now, without hair and everything, and being fit and everything, he didn't want him. But they had already signed the contract and everything without meeting in person. So Patrick Stewart said David Lynch was really upset about it.
Well, that kind of may explain why almost every scene that he does, he acts bad in the Dune film, and it's like, how could that get passed? So maybe David Lynch just didn't care. Just yeah, go ahead and do it then,
Yeah, maybe
because there's
so.
scenes in there you just go, oh, that's bad, Patrick. That's bad. That's really bad.
Well, it's been a number of years since I've seen that original Dune movie, so I will have to rewatch it and like specifically pay attention to his performance in it.
Well, especially when they're up in it's supposed to be the Thopter, but when they rescue the from the
From the sandworm.
yeah, they rescue
Mhm.
before that, where I think Liet Kynes says something like, and he's saying, telling them about the worm sign, and then Patrick Stewart's or Gurney says something, taps him and says, don't say anything that it's the it's the Duke because it's it's not an
It's
uncoded
an
channel or whatever.
right, right.
But
It's like
anyway, that is really badly done. Like it's just it's like it's yeah, it's a bad. That's was really bad. Most of it's bad. That film. Oh God, couldn't believe how
I love that film. I love it. It's a great film. I loved it.
like the first thing that when the guilds people come in and they're just wearing like garbage bags, and it's just so hilarious. And then like Jose Ferrara, which is a great actor, and he's just dazed, and he's like, you just think in his head he's probably going, where the fuck am I, what the fuck is going on?
Okay, I'm gonna give you the some of the clothing choices were questionable. Like Sting's metal underwear. That
Jenny like that.
it is questionable. But the movie itself, the other things I actually really like.
And this stupid, idiotic thing with the cat and the rat for Howard. It's like, what drugs was David Lynch on when he thought of that? God
The
Almighty.
cat and the rat. I don't remember what scene you're talking about.
Well, it's like after they got for Howard, and they poison him, but then he's got to take the antidote every day, and the antidote is something to do with a cat in a cage that's wrapped up with a rat, and there's hoses coming from the cat that he's got to sort of drink the life force of the cat to
Oh
survive.
my God. I don't remember that at all.
Oh, it's so bad. The only good part of it is Alia. It's so over the top that's really good because and like Paul say she's doing like any good, or at least and the thing is she's out killing the wounded, and then there's a scene with her screaming with the fires going around bodies, and the Chris knife with blood on it. She's killing the wounded out on the battlefield.
Don't remember that either.
Oh, that's just great. And then when she meets the Reverend Mother, that's just um, that's just fabulous. those are the only things. Well, other than Francesca Annis. Okay, that's something else.
Yeah. I like that actress playing Jessica. I thought she did a great job as Jessica.
It's just areas is cracking me up.
Yeah.
David Lynch is definitely a weirdo. Yes,
Yeah, he
yes.
is.
Just joined at the swearing part. Okay. Don't diss the metal undies.
Oh, come on, Jenny. Those metal underwear were so terrible.
What the? Anyway, sorry. That was a digression into which you'll hear it all again on next week's on the last week of or the last live of Dune, because we're going to talk about the films.
I don't like the new one. I like the old one though.
You haven't watched the sci-fi series one, have you?
No, that's right. I haven't watched the miniseries. I should watch that. I hear that it's really good, and I do want to watch that.
It's not perfect, but comparing it to the others, it is amazing.
Well, I hear it's a lot more comprehensive. So, like, if you were somebody who hadn't already read Dune to know the story or anything, you can understand what's going on more than if you watch the original movie. That's what I've been told. So I expect it to be more comprehensive.
Yeah. Like I say, I just want a couple of scenes, maybe just a little 10-minute thing of the first Dune film, everything with Francesca Annis in it, and then all the scenes with Alia. That's all we need.
Well, and you need
the Quasas Haderach. How can this be? For he is the Quasar Haderach.
Oh my God! Well, you got to leave Sting in his metal underwear in there for Jenny.
David Lynch Foundation, all about promoting transcendental meditation, I suspect, and do that. But he seems to promote celebrity persons doing TM. I'm not sure what the TM is.
Transcendental meditation.
Okay. Frankly, I prefer to hear about ordinary people. Yeah, it's just so weird. Yeah, like Joseph D says, yeah, the sci-fi miniseries is very faithful. It's not perfect, but it is good. It is very good. And then the second series, what they've done is they've combined Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, which you could easily do, and it's just called the Children of Dune.
Interesting. Well, I suppose it's my turn. And you'll never guess what I read next. Okay. It's another Star Trek book. This one is a TNG called Shadows Have Offended by Cassandra Rose Clark. I've never read Cassandra Rose Clark that I'm aware of. But this one was okay. It was okay.
Her name sounds familiar for some reason. I don't know
I
what
didn't
else she's
recognize it
written.
at all.
What else
I have
she's
no idea.
written?
I don't know.
Does
I've
it
never
say
heard
in
of her
the
before.
front? Does it say in the front other books by her?
Nope.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know why the name is so. Oh, I know why. Because I came across something about Rosamund Clark, or is it Rosamund Clark, the British actress? Or I don't know. Don't know why. Aaron says he's watched the part 2 of the new Dune, and he says it's awful.
Yeah, I didn't like the part one. I'll give part one. It was pretty. I liked the look of it, but I mean, even though it was very monotone, there was like practically no color. I liked it otherwise, but I did not like what they did with any of the characters. I thought it was not. Like, I don't know what they did with Jessica, but that wasn't Jessica from the book. I don't know. I didn't like it.
Yeah, Jenny says you should read the Babylon 5 book.
I do have 3 Babylon 5 books.
Yeah, you've got the numbered ones, which aren't the best. That's the thing.
Yeah, I remember you talking about the trilogy or whatever is better.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's 3 trilogies, I think it is. Yeah, and then there's the novelizations for films, and they're not the greatest either. And even though some of the names are people that do Star Trek stuff too, that people seem to like, but yeah, it just didn't work so much for some reason.
Mm. Are there any book checkers on with us right now? Somebody said they read something for book check. I don't remember who it was.
I can ban people, you know that.
Well, what about you? What did you read?
Uh, the next one, well, there's 3 books that I've been reading with Scott. Let me just reach forward here. I don't know if I've even spoken about this one before. There was 3 that we were going to do. Less Darkness Fall by L. Sprague de Camp. It's kind of a time travel thing going back to late Roman period. Um, and then, which is in here, it's one of the volumes of the 1960s by
Oh,
the Library of America, but it's
nice.
High Crusade. And then the third one was Bring the Jubilee. But
Oh yeah,
this one this week, the High Crusade, and it's basically set around like 1445, I think. Small village in England. They're getting set to go off to France to fight the French,
yeah.
and a spaceship of aliens land in their village.
Oh, cool.
And they've got all advanced weapons in that, but they're not used to arrows and things like that. So they actually wind up killing them all and
Oh, wow.
taking over the ship except one. That they figure, okay, well, let's just load up the whole village into the ship. Horses, cows, chickens, women and children. Hay, feed, everything, all the food, and then we'll just hop over to England. And then once we mop up the French, we'll go to the Holy Land and take back the Holy Land. But the alien has other ideas. Like he puts it on an autopilot to go back to one of his home planets, or because it's
Oh,
a race that is enslaved or taken over all sorts of other planets. So basically, these medieval guys wind up taking over the known galaxy with bow and arrow.
that's hilarious. And that sounds like a really good time. Is it good?
Oh, it is good. It's yeah. It's much. Well, no, not much better than it. I remembered. I really enjoyed it, but it's like it's so far fetched, but it does work.
That sounds awesome. That might be something I want to read in the future. That sounds like
It,
a good time.
it's really short. It's like 140 pages or something like that. So it's really really.
Nice. Nice. Well, that sounds good. Well, my next entry is more Star Trek. This is all you're going to be seeing from me for the next 3 months is Star Trek books. But this one was Collateral Damage. It was absolutely awful. It was so bad. Who's the author?
Well, Star
David
Trek
Mack.
is collateral damage, so that works.
This one was terrible. I do not recommend reading it. It was god awful. I don't even remember what it was about. What was this one even about? Oh, yeah, right. This one involves a bunch of that stupid Section 31 stuff that I don't like, where Captain Picard gets put on trial for his participation or association with the people who killed the president, who was all shady and everything. And, it was bad. It was terrible. Didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars.
Andrew says he's read the first 3 books in the numbered series for Babylon 5. They're pretty good, you seem to remember. Yeah, they're not bad, but they're not great. I think the trilogies are better, especially the Psychor trilogy is really good because you get the personal history of Bester.
Yeah, see, I didn't like any of that Psychor stuff. I like it.
It fits in, it works in, and then you got the Technomage trilogy, and I think, is it a Shadow trilogy? There might be a Shadow trilogy.
Technomage is cool. I liked that guy.
Gola Muad'Dib says hello, happy Sunday.
Hello.
I have the novelization of Star Trek Into Darkness. Jenny says, hey Gola. Hi Jenny. Brandy, have you read any Star Trek books by Margaret Wander Bonanno?
I'm not sure. I can't remember who wrote all the Star Trek books I wrote. There's a few now. So I don't know. Can you think of any titles? I'd look it up on my phone, but I'm using my phone for the live.
Yeah, I have no idea who she is, to be honest.
Yeah, she's written some Star Trek books. I just can't remember whether or not I've read any of hers or not. I can tell you're very impressed, Sean.
No, I don't have I got to get the other trilogies of the Babylon 5 ones. That's the thing, in order to read those properly. Strangers from the Sky, I guess.
Oh, no, I haven't read that one yet.
The other one, as I was saying, was Bring the Jubilee, which was another sort of a time travel-ish thing, but most of it's to do with the South winning the Civil War. And it's the world that had been, or the America that was created, or it's not even called America. It's the War of South Independence, it was called. And it's the one character, but he's telling the story. He was born in 1920, but he's writing down the story, he says, in 1877.
I like the cover of that.
Yeah, it's kind of neat because it's got some balloons in the background, and yeah, it's this wasn't as good as I remembered it, to be honest, because he goes back in time and he screws everything up. Well, he actually corrects things to our timeline where the South lost, but for his own time he screws everything up.
Well,
but it's good, and it's like the guy goes into a lot of historical stuff. So, but yeah, it fell a little flat for me this time reading it. But the other two, the High Crusade was absolutely fabulous reread, and so was Lest Darkness Fall, because there's a banker in here that's pretty good. Like the guy goes, like he's wearing, like they show there, like he's in Roman times, he's wearing like a suit and stuff. But
is that a dog? The little thing that's above him, whatever that is, it looks like there's a dog on top of it. Am I seeing things?
It's a trebuchet. It's just like a big rock or
something. I see. Okay. It looked like a dog.
but he wants to invent things, so he goes to this banker to loan him some money, and the banker sort of says, well, what is it for? And it's like, I want to start up a printing press, and start printing books. And he's going, well, that's just ridiculous. Nobody buys books. Nobody wants anything. How much money do you need? And then he says like 10,000, whatever. And the guy goes, oh Lord, he wants me to give him that much money. And, for this, and I just can't believe it. And then he goes, but do you think it would really make money? And it's always that conversation where he goes, do you think it'll work?
That's funny.
No, there's no way I'm doing it, but you think it will work.
Nice.
Um, sorry, I have to go walk a restless dog.
All right, bye.
So yeah, so that was. I got one more. So, are you finished
Oh yeah,
or?
I got one more too. Yeah. So then I read surprise surprise another Star Trek book, TNG. Pliable Truths, which is the newest one that just came out. Fantastic. This was absolutely fabulous. Loved everything about it. It was so good. This one takes place on Deep Space Nine. The whole story takes place on Deep Space Nine. It like takes place like right after right after as the Cardassians are leaving Deep Space Nine, and the Enterprise shows up to help facilitate the negotiations between the Cardassians and the Bajorans. And of course, the Cardassians have started sabotaging the station. But it's before Cisco. Cisco hasn't arrived yet. But the two Deep Space Nine characters, other than Miles O'Brien and Worf, of course, are Odo and Kira. So are in it. It was great. This was really, really good. I gave this 4 stars.
I want to see a showdown between Cisco and Picard,
Well,
because
they
Cisco
do
does
have
not like Picard.
a verbal showdown in one of those first episodes. I don't remember what episode it was of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, well, it's actually not so much Picard that he didn't like. He didn't like
So
Locutus.
cutest, yeah, yeah.
Jenny says, "I get a subtle hint that you're a Trekkie."
I know it's surprising, isn't it? I don't think that I've ever mentioned that I like Star Trek before, but
Oh, this is interesting. Apparently, Kevin J. Anderson was approached to write B5 novels, but wasn't given much time to write them, and was offered half the money of what they originally promised him. Oh, okay.
wow,
Yeah, that
don't blame
wouldn't have
them for
been.
not writing those.
Yeah, that would have been, that wouldn't have been JMS, I don't think, because that was owned by uh, somebody else that was controlling those things. I think and that's why they sort of stopped, because he then gave outlines for the trilogies. He gave outlines, and then so people wrote from the outlines. So that's why they're better than the numbered ones. Um, yeah, and my sort of, well, it wasn't the final one I read. The final one I read was this, but early in the week was this month's Simac. So I've got Simac and Babylon 5 in the same sentence now. So that works. This is a Choice of Gods, which has an interesting cover, but nothing to do with the story at all. Like a spaceship, yeah, but floating sort of, our cities on pedestals, nah. It's basically set later this century, I suppose, or beginning of the 22nd century, where all of a sudden, uh, 8 billion people on the earth disappear just overnight, like snapping of a finger, except 60 people at a party, some Native Americans, and a smaller group of itinerant workers in California, which we find out later. And they just all disappeared. And then everybody lives for thousands of years. So then 8,000 years later, or 10,000 years later, all of a sudden the humans that are left can teleport themselves anywhere in the universe or in the galaxy.
Okay.
But
Sounds like
then,
an interesting premise.
it's his premise, because there's a intelligence at the center of the galaxy that was like, Earth is this was an experiment, and
Oh,
as you can tell by the title, a choice of gods.
yeah.
So, and then the robots were all left. So robots either went wild, and went to they're building a supercomputer, or a few of them become monks and work into Christianity, and saying that humans didn't do it to its uh, didn't come to an end, or a conclusion of anything. But the book ends after they know this other intelligence. This is Hezekiah the robot saying, God must be forever a kindly old, and in brackets, human gentleman with long white flowing beard. I just love
Okay,
that line.
I have a question.
What?
Does Simak have an obsession with like quote wild robots? Because there were wild robots in friggin' city as well. And I'm all like, are we got like, oh, was he like obsessed with wild robots? And what is that? What exactly is a wild robot? I mean,
Well, it just means that there's no humans to tell it what to do. They're doing their own thing. They're doing their own thing. They're not
I'm
being.
sorry.
They're
They're not
uh,
attached to humans in any way.
correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So he has that in a few books, and there's a lot of things similar in this one to City. There's a lot of similar
Interesting.
stuff,
Interesting.
and I'm actually beginning to see on this reread of stuff, seeing some things about his thoughts and how uh, yeah, there's some interesting things that I'm beginning to see that I don't think anybody has actually talked about his writing. So
Is it a
uh,
fix-up novel?
no, no, this is not. No,
Okay.
it's not a fictive
Just a
novel.
linear story?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Well, the premise of that one sounds more interesting to me.
yeah. But he does. There's a lot of thought and about humans and religion, and their place in the universe. There's lots of talk and narration about that because it's a choice of gods. So you don't put that in a title if you don't talk about God or religion.
Right. Right. Is that the one that you're reading that one with Scott too, right?
Yeah, Scott is going to read that one as well. Yeah. So
Mhm.
hopefully we'll do a live with that one. Aaron is saying here, you didn't beat your record from yesterday. I mentioned Babylon 5 Stomach in the first half hour. Yeah, there's one more Simac that's I'll be reading before the end of the month as well.
Nice.
So
What are you
what have
gonna?
you got planned? Are you in the midst of anything at the moment, or?
Yeah, I'm almost done. I've got, as you can see, I've just got a little bit left here of Star Trek Next Generation, Hearts and Minds by Dayton Ward. This is pretty good. I'm really enjoying this one. It's good. It's really good. It's a time travel novel. Well, not I shouldn't say time travel novel. It's not a time travel novel. It's following two timelines. It's following some characters from Earth in the past, and it's following Captain Picard making first contact with the world in the Star Trek present. So it's after Picard. I mean, not Picard. This one takes place after Riker takes command of the Titan. So, and Worf is Picard's first officer, and this Smirova character is in it. She's in a lot of these later books. I don't really like her very much. And then the other book I'm only like what 50 pages in, 43 pages in is Kalis. So
Well, I've started this afternoon or earlier this evening. Is the Road to Dune?
which one is
Uh,
that in the sequence?
it's not in the sequence.
Oh,
It's not. This is put together by Kevin J. Anderson and Frank Brian Herbert,
hmm,
and they found like, well, there's some stuff like, people have said, like Steve Donahue says, oh, it's all bullshit, that there's none of these outlines and stuff, but there is stuff that was given to a university, boxes and boxes of stuff. So there are notes and
yeah,
there's outlines for things. To what extent the stuff that they have, that's questionable, but their other stuff is public record. But anyway, there was a detailed outline for something called Spice Planet. I think it was called Spice Planet. Yeah,
mhm.
Spice Planet, the alternate Dune novel. So they've put it together and wrote it as a novel from his outline.
Interesting. So
And
what was this?
then,
Was this some version of Dune that he ended up not writing?
yeah, basically, yeah, it was like an earlier version
Oh,
of Dune.
interesting.
So that's why it's not all his words. I prefer if they just put the outline in for my liking. But uh,
Yeah.
and, and then they've got um, well, there's letters from between the publishers, I think, while he was writing Dune and some other letters. Maybe even I haven't even looked here too closely, but with Campbell maybe because it was published in analog. Uh, but there's some other articles, but also two deleted scenes and chapters from Dune that didn't get into the published book. So,
Oh,
and then it goes on to Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. So I'm just going to read up to the end of the scenes from Dune and the letters and everything.
oh, nice.
So I wasn't going to, but I decided to do that, and I'll read that over a couple days, hopefully. And then um, the other Simak book is the Goblin Reservation.
Ah, nice. What's that one about?
That's well, it's way in the future. Earth is basically the whole Earth is uh, a university, and the way that they travel through space is sort of like a teleportation type thing, or beaming them into space, if you want to go Star Trek wise. And the guy comes back and he finds out that he'd come back a couple weeks before and he was murdered. So it's like there's a bit of a mystery. But you've got a Neanderthal who's been like there's time travel in there. So Neanderthal has been yanked from the past, saved. He was going to die, but he's now got like 5 PhDs. Uh, and then there's a ghost. There's a ghost that doesn't know who he's the ghost of, and he's a scaredy cat. He's scared of everything,
Oh
like he's
my
scared of
God,
his own shadow if he had a shadow.
that's
And then they
funny.
bring Shakespeare up to the present, or that present, and he likes it there. He absconds. He doesn't want to go back. And then all the fey creatures like goblins, gnomes, and everything have come out of hiding, and they're on a reservation now, the
Oh,
Goblin Reservation.
neat.
And there's a huge library that's in here as well, and a dragon.
A dragon. Nice. Is it a comedic novel?
And there is a bit of humor to it. It's Simak's style of humor, because as I say, the Neanderthal, has 6 PhDs. It's just that is humorous in itself,
Yeah,
and a ghost that is scared is scared of himself basically.
that's funny.
So, and I might, if I get all that done, I still need I'd like to read a Zane Grey. Oh, I just remembered there's two. Oh, I might not be able to get to that because there are two westerns, Simak westerns that I haven't read yet. So the final two westerns.
You
So
just reminded me that I wanted to read at least one story out of that collection by what's the author of the book I have? It's the one that you recommended me, and I bought it off of eBay. And
oh yeah, the Buttline, yeah, the dime novels, yeah.
yeah. I want to. You reminded me. I want to read at least one of those. So I'll probably be doing that soon.
Yeah, though that's really they're short and they are so badly written that they're funny.
But they're fun. Nice.
Let's see. Gualma Deeb says Next Generation was my favorite of the Star Trek shows.
Me too. That show aired when I was like 12 or 13 years old, and like I grew up watching it essentially, and I've been watching it continuously ever since.
Andrew says Q Squared by Peter David was a good Star Trek novel.
Yeah, I have that one. Uh-oh, I'm getting a phone call. Hold on. All right, I had to swipe that away.
Yeah, he did a couple of the Babylon 5 ones too, like novelizations that aren't that good. Andrew says he's definitely going to look out for the road to Dune. Yeah, there's I have to look at the letters because there's another book called I that he did, that has, I think, his his um his view or his reaction to the David Lynch film in there, and I think some other things that are Dune related plus other short stories. And I don't know if any. I thought they might have reprinted that in here, but I don't think they have. I don't think they have. Oh yeah, there's also some short stories by Frank Herbert. Sorry, by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson in here as well that they threw in. But I think those are reprinted in a collection that they put out with all the short stories they've done. But but yeah, so like I didn't read as much as I wanted to this week, but I'm pretty well on schedule. What like I didn't go overboard with my TBR this month anyway. So even though I've basically lost a week of reading of of
You
time.
still came out well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've still got a week left this week left. So it's not too bad because there was two big books that I read. Well, not big, but one they're both 600 pages, so that wasn't too bad.
Mhm.
Well, yeah. Like it's like you get a good line uh, from Alia out of that, but because Paul makes it rain, and he's like he's not a god, he's
Yeah.
not a god, and he can't. And then once he makes it rain, spices, he's destroyed the spice
Mhm.
because he's destroyed the worms. The worms will all die. But you get the good line because you get Alia saying, "How can this be? For he is the Kwisatz Haderach."
Right.
And
Oh.
then I love those scenes between her and the 4-year-old Alia because the Reverend Mother says, "Kill the abomination,"
Yeah.
and it's like the whole movie's an abomination.
I liked that movie.
It just I really like I kind of thought I hadn't seen it in probably 20 years or more, and I
But
thought this is maybe the third time I've seen it, and I thought I might actually begin to like it. No, I don't.
well, watch Eraserhead, and then you'll change your mind about Dune.
I've seen Eraserhead.
Oh, you have seen Eraserhead.
Yeah,
That movie is so weird.
everything's weird that David Lynch does. I don't
Yeah,
know
but
how he.
Eraserhead was like especially weird. Like I don't know what's going on in this movie.
Oh, it's just there's so much, and then like Gurney Halleck is supposed to have was supposed to be a balisette. It's like it I envision it as one of those guitars that have where the strings are, but it's bent backward and it has a round back to it, like it's round, it's stubby. And
Yeah.
then in the fucking movie, he's carrying around like a sitar, that's been augmented to something. I'm going, yeah, right. You're gonna take that into battle, Gurney?
Well, I understand why you don't like it. I get it, but I loved it.
Like like none of them they had Paul right in none of them because he's way too old in the David Lynch film.
He is too old. Now that new set of movies, he's the right age. He looks the right age, but I still didn't like him as Paul for some reason. He still didn't fit for me.
It's a bit more manly than a banjo. Yeah, I couldn't watch Twin Peaks. Like I just couldn't watch it. It was just
But Andrew, did you see Eraserhead? Because I don't think there's anything that's going to top Eraserhead in weirdness.
no, like I say, there's so many weird things in Dune though. It's just so many. It's like I don't know what they were doing with Baron von Harkonnen. It's like
Yeah, that was it was entertaining, but it definitely was not the Baron Harkonnen in the book.
and even in the series, it was okay. Um, but he wasn't quite right either. It's just they didn't get him, and I don't even think in the new one he's right from what I remember from the first part. But
Well,
yeah, I just don't know.
I didn't watch that second part of the new one. I only watched the first part. But the Baron Harkonnen in that one seemed okay to me. If we're sticking with the book, he seemed more like the book Harkonnen than in that original movie. And then, of course, I can't say anything about the miniseries since I haven't seen that yet. But
Like
I really need to get on watching this miniseries.
they went way over the top after Alia kills or poisons the Harkon Baron with the Gom Jabbar, and he gets sucked out, and he gets eaten by a worm, and it's like, yeah, that's just way over the top, you know. And then they're watching it and going, hey. Andrew says, no, I didn't watch Eraserhead. Sounds like he dodged a bullet without. Yes.
Yeah, it's really out there. I mean, I kind of feel like people should watch it just so that just because it's just one of those things, you know what I mean? Like everybody should watch that, even though it was really, really weird, just for the conversation it can evoke.
Like it's just there's some people that made films in the past that you just wonder, how did they do this?
Mhm.
How did they do this? You know, how did they get the money for this?
Well, they made that film in college, and like the actors in it weren't being paid; they were just friends of his who were voluntarily like making that movie with him, and it took them like several years to make it. So, oh
But no, it's just but he continued making films.
yeah,
That's the strange thing.
yeah.
Like I get him and Ken Russell mixed up as well, you know, because I think it's Ken Russell that did the List one with Roger Daltrey, and you know, List is a pianist, what, in the 18th century, early 19th century,
I
and
do not know.
they've got a scene of Roger Daltrey as List riding across the stage on a massive dildo.
What?
Yep.
Why? Why?
Well, women did go crazy over him apparently.
Oh my.
Yeah, yeah, children are doing. They should. Yeah, I do want to get the Blu-ray of that. You know, it's like I kind of thought that I might, just because I like it so much, and maybe get the like the original David Lynch, you know, on Blu-ray and stuff. But oh, no, 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 there's just no way I'm going to do that. I did like the Arrow package they did, Arrow Blu-ray. It was a nice package they did, but and I was contemplating at that time before it disappeared. I'm just glad I didn't, because it would have been just a wasted money.
I would love to have that the Arrow Collectors Blu-ray. Did it have the book and everything?
No, it didn't have the book, but it had like a poster. It had a bunch of other stuff. It was a nice package because it had a booklet, I think, with it as well.
Yeah.
You know, but and it
Yeah, I
had.
would love to have that. I love that movie.
Oh wow! It comes to Lego Sandworm.
Really?
That's yeah. I don't know if that's the one that's. Is it just Children of Dune, or did they put it out both in one, in a box set, the Dune and Children of Dune? I'm not sure, because I noticed, because there's a few versions of it. That's the thing of Blu-rays, as they usually do. Um, and I like to get ones that have the extras on. And like I'm not even interested in looking at the extras. Like if you know,
Mhm.
I'd hate to see the scenes if from Dune. These are the scenes they kept. I'd hate the scenes that, if the ones that they didn't think were good enough to put in the bloody thing.
Yeah.
They're both in the collection. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to look for that.
Are you
'Cause
talking about the miniseries
yeah,
or the
yeah,
okay, the
yeah.
miniseries?
So I think there's three parts for every one, but there was a DVD set for each of them, and there was a version that had extra scenes as well, like it was an extended version. Um, so I don't know. I would assume it would be on these, but yeah, I guess because Golam Deeb says that the its profile picture is the is the
Yeah,
Lego
I'd
thing.
be in it just for the Lego sandworm.
Does it come apart in pieces or what? I don't know. Like I was saying before, I don't know who I was saying it to, but I just don't understand the Lego craze. I just don't understand it.
Oh, my son was huge into Legos. Huge. Every year at Christmas time, I bought him a great big box of like 1,000 Legos every year. Plus, in between, like some of the sets, he was super into it.
Yeah, I just don't understand it myself. But Joseph D says, yeah, that apparently they are going to do. Somebody had told me, I think it was from yesterday's um, live stream, that yeah, the Dune Messiah is being done, but they're not going to. They'll probably make two movies out of Dune Messiah or something stupid like that, you know. But yeah, it's I don't know. It just I just don't know how they can ruin it. That's the thing, but they have. It's easy. Uh, you make it. It's fun. Oh, you put the worm together. I guess it's fun.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
Dune got me into Lego. I made Lego ornithopter. Oh, from the original film, because that's the thing. The thopters, the order, it was just weird too in the film. It's like you got this box with little wings. And it's like, you know, at least in the new film, in the new films, the thopters look correct. Like at least I thought of what I thought, and also the personal shields look correct. The stupid thing that they had in the David Lynch film, like these blocks of moving around of shields, was just so stupid looking.
That the shields look like Legos in that original
Yeah,
film.
they did. Yes, they did. Oh, from the new film. Okay, the if that's the Lego, that they do look good. Like I wouldn't mind actually having a little figure of the ornithopter to put on the shelf or something like that, you know, or an actual worm. Like at least the worms in the David Lynch film looked okay, and I still thought there's a scene where it must be when Paul first gets on the worm, and the worm is coming towards the screen, and then along the side, all the Fremen are running up to it. That looks pretty good still. At least, maybe not on a big screen, but it looked okay on what I was watching it on. It's still the effects look good.
I think that Tremors was like a Dune, supposed to be like a hillbilly Dune. I really think that Tremors was a hillbilly Dune. Though I went to the movie theater to see that when I was young, and I remember thinking, this is like this. I remember getting Dune vibes from that movie.
Well, there is a movie that's on. It was free on Amazon, and I think it was just called Dune Planet or something like that. And it's basically a planet that they go to that has worms the same exact way. It's just really weird how they do that.
Yeah, that Dune worm has been ripped off for a lot of things. Also, it's in Beetlejuice too. The uh, the worms
Oh,
are in Beetlejuice too.
plastic model kits of the ornithopter. Um, yeah, that's the only problem is I can't make. I've tried. I can't make models, plastic models. I can't do that. So
With
I want
Lego? Oh, he's not talking about a Lego kit. He's talking
you
about an actual model kit.
Jenny loves Tremors.
I do too. I like that first one really well. Hillbilly Dune.
Bert, I don't know who Bert Gummer is on Arrakis with his armory.
Is Burt Gummer? Was he from Tremors? Was he the gun crazy guy from Tremors?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That might be it. Yeah. Well, they did have an armory sort of with the stupid thing of the weirding module and in the it's just you can go on and on about like scene by scene how awful that film is, scene
Oh
by
my god,
scene.
Sean! I would love to do a reaction video watching the original Dune movie with you. That would be hilarious.
it is, well, it's hilarious to begin with. Like, okay, the other good one was Princess Erland was okay for what she did in there, and she looked how you would picture her possibly in the book, you
Yeah.
know. But I don't remember that on any of the others.
Yeah, that was the other thing. I thought Princess Irulan was, like the historian or whatever in
Yeah,
the first book. And it took me a while to realize that wait, am I getting confused? No, I'm not getting confused. Yeah, she is the one narrating in the first book, right?
yeah,
In
she's
Dune.
the
Okay.
epigrams at the beginning. Yeah,
Okay. So when I started reading Dune Messiah, I hope I'm not spoiling anything for anybody, but the implication was, like I said, I didn't finish it, but the implication is that the emperor's daughter was poisoning, um oh my god, what's his wife's name? I forgot. The
Channy
one,
or Channy.
Cheney, there you go. Sorry, Cheney, I could draw a blank. Was poisoning Cheney so she couldn't have any more children, to give Paul an excuse to come to her to have children with.
Yeah,
And so that made her like this sort of bad character, or a typical Jesuit, you know what I mean? They're always manipulating bloodlines and things like this. So I didn't so that means that Princess Irulan must be the daughter of Paul and the Emperor's daughter, whose name I've forgotten. Do I
no,
have
not
that right?
no. The Irulan is the emperor's, the Shaddam the Fourth's daughter.
Okay,
Uh,
so she is the daughter. She's not the daughter of Paul. Okay.
no, no.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you for straightening that out. Okay. Because I was getting confused when I was reading the second book. I was like, wait a minute, am I confusing myself?
He does have a, well, yeah. It's there are children in there. They're called Children of Dune, the twins.
Yeah.
Uh, but uh, but yeah, like Princess Irulan isn't narrating the story of Dune. I don't take her
Well,
as
she's
being
not,
there.
yeah, she's not narrating, but she's like doing the little tidbits in between the
Exactly.
sections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're like
because basically,
excerpts from her writings or whatever.
yeah, because basically the whole thing was that, well, Paul's going to marry her for the status,
Right.
and she likes writing, so she'll have nothing else to do, so she'll do it, and
Oh,
it shows because there's like 6 books or 7 books that are hers,
wow.
collecting writings and so
Oh,
forth.
are there excerpts from her writings in all of those books? In all of the Dune books?
I can't remember. There are things in the later books as well, but I can't remember if they are specifically her. I think it's more diverse. I think there's
Hmm.
other writings that show up and not just
Okay.
hers.
Okay.
But I off the top of my head I can't remember. Jenny says Bert was amazing in Tremors too. I am completely out of ammo. That's never happened to me before.
I saw Tremors too, but it was so long ago that I don't remember it. I don't even remember what year the first one came out, but I remember I was a teenager, I think, and I went to the movie theater to see it. I think I was like 14 or something. I seem to remember going and not being able to drive yet. So,
Yeah, no, Gola Maldiv is right here. Yeah, Planet Dune has Sean Young in the film. She's the one that's in sends the prisoners out to the planet. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Even Sean Young looked the part of Channy as well in the film. So they did have
yeah, but
three
she's
that
still too
worked.
old.
Channy,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sean Young is
probably a
still
little
too
bit.
old.
Yeah,
I mean, Paul's like 14 or 15 years old, and dude, and Cheney is his age.
yeah. Yeah, she was, but she had the elfin sort of look and the skinny, being skinny, and just that's what I thought. She looked okay for that. Uh,
Mhm.
Tremors was 1990, so
Ah, okay.
but yeah, yeah, that's right. They were about the same age, I guess. Yeah, and so was like Fade Rotha is the same age too. As Paul. And it's like Sting does not look like he's 14 or 15. in the film.
Oh, I didn't think that he was. I thought he was like 20 or something like that in the book. I didn't think he was a
Well,
teenager.
by the time he shows up, no, he first shows up after. No, he's about the same age. He's about 16, 15 or 16. He's about the same age, give or take.
He
He's just,
is?
yeah, he is young. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was like 20. I thought he was older than Paul.
No, maybe a couple of years, but not much. Not by much. I don't think it was, because there was that Fenrix and his sort of consort or whatever that came to the um, uh, after the Harkonnens took over again, and she was supposed to jump into bed with him to continue the line. She was sent there to have sex with Fade Rotha, basically, to continue, because Jessica screwed up the
Mhm.
thing, or the whatever they were calling it.
Yeah. She was not supposed to have a son. She was supposed to give them a daughter and no sons.
Well, somebody was saying, I forget who it was, but somebody was saying on the thing that on the chat that there's a game that's coming out that's an alternate version where um, she does have a daughter instead of Paul, and
Oh,
that's what it's about. So I was thinking, okay, well, that's an interesting take on it, and see where they could go with that. But you see, the thing is, Dune, like as you know, in Dune, the Bene Gesserit have this thing, but their end game is not the Kwisatz Haderach. That's not their end game. They don't know what that was really going to be, but that was only a step along the way. So we it unfolds in the other books, like these things, because they've got generational plans. They've been working at this for 10,000 years.
yeah.
So
What was the character's name who was the failed Haderach? What was that character's name?
oh yeah, it was the Fenrig, the Count Fenrig or something
Is
like
that
that.
is that who that was?
Yeah,
Okay, I can't remember what.
he was a eunuch.
Okay.
But so they I guess they continued on, and then they're going to continue on with like I you get the impression that because the other Bene Gesserit's there to have sex with Fayed, that would be a female, so then it would be the next generation there possibly. But it still doesn't quite make sense, because if it's supposed to be the Atreides line, then I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Well, I don't know, but the Atreides and the Harkonnen, like Jessica's the result of the combination of their lines, because Baron Harkonnen was her father,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then Paul, of course, would then be a Harkonnen and an Atreides.
yeah, and that was the thing. And but no, it's supposed to have been the daughter. It would be the daughter, and then the daughter was supposed to then, because basically then be paired with Fade Rotha, cousin, basically cousin.
Oh, was that in Dune? Because I don't remember that.
Yeah, yeah, because it was that they were uh because yeah, the Jessica is the Baron's daughter. So
Yeah,
then Jessica was supposed to have a daughter, and that daughter was supposed to have been paired
Fade
with
Rotha.
Rotha. Yeah, so which would be her cousin,
Okay.
because well, basically Jessica and Fade Rotha are cousins.
Right.
And same
Yeah,
as
I don't
Peace
remember
Shadow.
that being mentioned in the book.
Hmm?
I don't remember that being mentioned in the book.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it is mentioned. Yeah.
Interesting.
That was Gualma Deep said, yeah, the game is Dune Awakening. So, and that could be interesting if they do some books on it. That I'd be up for that, not the game, but I'd be interested in maybe reading the books. But yeah, no, that's the thing with Dune. It's so rich that there's so much that you unpack every time you read it. You
Yeah.
see different things, and that's what I like about it. That's what I like about some books. And I'm sort of glad that I've reread it, but now, like I say, I'm stuck now. I have to read the rest. So anyway, I think that's it for today.
Yeah. Yeah, my phone's almost dead. And my cat wants to go out and he's bugging me here to go outside.
So we'll say goodbye to everybody and thank you for stopping by.
Yeah. Bye.
And probably see you next week, I think. Or you do it
Yeah.
next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye everybody.